Conflict isn't chaos. In fact, it's the fuel for growth. And here's how you embrace it without burning bridges.
And the truth, here's the truth. For us as leaders, the greatest failure of leadership is a lack of courage. A lack of courage to say what needs to be said.
Most teams avoid conflict because it feels uncomfortable. But the truth is, a healthy dose of conflict drives better decisions. Start off by setting the ground rules. Different opinions are welcome, but personal attacks are not. Then use what I call real-time permission. When things get heated in a meeting, you step in and say, "This is good. Let's dig into this." By giving your team permission to respectfully disagree, you turn debates into breakthroughs. When you're ready to transform conflict into collaboration, DM me the words "conflict isn't chaos." I'll shoot you a link to my favourite TED Talk on the subject.
This could be the most important thing I say. Nothing can change until the unspoken is said.
Nothing can change until the unspoken is said. All right, what we are focused on today is how we take conflict, which isn't chaos, and we use what's known as an ambitious target to drive a turnaround. Now you're probably thinking, this all sounds interesting. You don't understand, Ben. I don't have time to do this. Someone else on the project needs to run with this. It's not in my wheelhouse. Or let's see how this session works first. I'm going to address all three of those because this is going to create time, not take it. And someone else needs to run with this. Yes, someone else does. We need to find the right who. Now you got me on board, of course. That's me. I can do this without even coming onto your site because I know how to use, when we go back to our $1,000 per hour tasks, doing social media with extreme confidence. This is very rare. I can do this without even coming onto your site. I am doing this without. This is what Frank Kern calls the oldest trick in the book, which is help someone. If you want to show someone that you can help them first. It's exactly what we're doing. We're building this live in real time. Okay. We're not going to mess around. We're going to get straight into the ambitious target session with our AI wingman. Going to hit him straight up today. Okay. Of course, as part of this, we're looking for, and someone pointed out to me that skeptics spelt with a C, not a K. I'll stick them with a K because with a C, it looks like septic to me. So we're sticking with skeptic with a K. I need 25 skeptics. This is part of our ambitious target, and 30 catalysts inside construction school to do this inside the next 30 days. This is, I don't even think this is achievable, and I'm usually overly optimistic, but let's watch how this process runs anyway. All right. Okay, mocks, we're going to kick into this and we're going to run the ambitious target session. This is the way it's going to roll, okay? You and I are going to go through it, like I said, one step at a time. So don't be giving me 100 things to do at once. Pull from that PDF what the first step is. We'll do the first step. You and I will plan it. We need to use what's known as the red team. I'm going to read you a part of the book, The Afterburner Advantage, so that you can get your head around what the red team is. Then we're going to create the tasks and sequence a timeline, and then, of course, execute the plan. So, have you got all that? Don't give me war and peace. I just want to know that you are on board so far and you're ready to go. Always confirm with your AI, your bot, whatever you're using, get them to explain back to you what you're doing. First step of the ambitious target process. Introduce the red team lens, afterburner advantage, create task, sequence, timeline, execute. When you're ready, what's the target we are locking in? Okay, so this is first step, right? So the target we're locking in comes back to what you said the other day, and this is our ambitious target. You said to me we need to get 25 skeptics and 30 catalysts in the first 30 days to build that 90-day plan that you were talking about the other day. We're already down to day 28. Anyone that's worked with me on site before knows that I always keep score on my whiteboard, so it's in my face all the time to keep you focused. That is the target we're locking in. We good with that? We timed this, by the way, too. We've got the clock running up here. I'm infamous at CSNG for this clock. That was the way that we had a heap of sessions that we had to get through in 2 days when we were doing scope review. Bring in a lot of high-level execs who want to know a lot of detail, and we had a lot of engineers that talk for long amounts of time, and we had a lot of sessions to get through in a short amount of time. I used to set the clock. Each session was set for 50 minutes. And I'll set it like a football, 4 quarters, 15 minutes gone, 30 minutes gone. It's an insanely simple but great way to keep everyone on track. Ambitious target confirmed, 25 sceptics, 30 catalysts, inside the remaining window scoreboard, whiteboard rule, no drift. Next step, what was the first question? First decision in your ambitious target process. So are you pulling the steps back from the PDF here? It sounds like you're just making it up as you go along to me. This doesn't sound like, if I'm looking at Dr. Eli Galrat's, I've actually got the session pulled up here. So it says set the rules for the meeting. You didn't do that. While we're doing this, you haven't done that. And you skip straight to step 1, which is choose an ambitious target. So how about we go back and we do this right from the start. Actually create a bot to do this. Run through it rather than just doing this here. Correct. We reset and run it properly. Propose these as governing constraints. 1, target, no solutions during target selection. Brutal realism beats optimism. Constraint government on all discussions. Red team authority is protected. Skeptics are not negative. They are a signal. This is how we use them. This is how we create the conflict. Target must be measurable and binary. Environment, not people. We assume competent people inside a flawed system. Yep. Those are accepted. What's the next step? No mechanics, no planning, just a target. Candidate based on your globe. Within 30 days, we identify in a role 25 skeptics, no catalysts. 30 catalysts, non-negotiable conditions, time bound, fixed for 30 days. Numerical, binary, hit or miss, behavioural proof, not names on a list, but active participants. Are we defining success as identified in contact, engaged in conversation, actively participating? We're going with C, actively participating inside construction school. So we're setting this so we can say, yes, we did it. No, we didn't do it. This is tough too, by the way. I don't believe that we'll hit this, but anyway, we'll give it a red up go. Step 2, before tactics, we identify the dominant constraint. What is most likely reason the target okay. Okay, this is where we need the red team, and I'm going to read you this from the Afterburner Advantage book, the red team, okay? It would be a remarkable achievement for your team to come up with a perfect plan for any mission, much less a complex mission with numerous contingencies on the first attempt. It's a difficult task made more difficult by the inherent tendencies for teams to rely too much on their own knowledge, myths, and stories and tend to be a little bit too optimistic on the outcomes. That's particularly the case when the team really likes a plan, can see it happening and taste its success. They've bought into it, they've sunk their emotional capital into it, and they'll be blind to its threats. That's something we avoid as fighter pilots, and it's part of what the book business author Daniel Kahneman calls the inside view in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. What we both need is an outside view. Instead of launching the plan and later having mistakes, we have a fresh set of external eyes. Test it out now before you start. We have a saying, best let someone shoot holes in your plan before the bad guys shoot holes in the jet. Let an outside team tear it apart, find the flaws, confirm or refute your assumptions. They'll think the threats you hadn't thought through and test the baseline data and assumptions. Best of all, they'll remove the planning fallacy of optimism. Bring in the red team. Before every single mission we fly, we have an experienced aviator, an individual not involved in planning a mission, run the eye over it to identify any obvious mistakes. Okay, that's the end of the paragraph from the book. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a project inside here, and what I need you to do is to create a prompt. This prompt is to turn them into the red team. So this other GPT is going to be the red team, and they're going to pull apart everything that we do. First thing we do, we've named the measurable ambitious target, so you need to give them context behind what we're doing this, who we're doing it for, how we're going about it. Then we need to get confirmation out of them that it would be good if we achieved that target. That's the next step. Okay? So, can you get them to do that? We'll get them to confirm that it's good, and then we will move on to the next step. But can you create that prompt, please? Do you understand where I'm going with this, or what we're trying to do? Explain back to me the steps that you're going to take before you take them. How are we going for time here? 39 minutes, right. I always see a lot of patterns that we don't see as well. So when you're red teaming, I'd be using AI exactly like I am at the moment. Yes, perfectly clear where you're going. You're not asking me to analyse yet, you're asking me to prepare a red team prompt to another GPT that can use to attack this plan. Before I generate it, here is my understanding of the sequence you're running. We have already done set meeting rules, selected the ambitious target. Ambitious target fixed within 30 days. 25 skeptics, 30 catalysts, participating and observable behavioural, not passive membership. What you're doing next, red team stage. Instead of moving forward with planning, you want an outside view challenge, exactly like the red fighter pilot team logic you just read. The red team's GPT's job is not to help optimise or expand. His job is to attack assumptions, identify your mechanisms, create feasibility, stress test logic, look for blind spots and optimism bias, question measurable validity, and evaluate whether the target is actually valuable. Specific outcomes you want from the red team. Understand the mission context, project scale and environment, nature of construction school, definition of skeptics versus catalysts, 30-day time constraint, behavioural definition of participation. Interrogate the ambitious target. Is it truly ambitious? Is it measurable? Is it meaningful? What assumptions are hidden inside it? Actively try to break the plan. Why would this fail? What kills it first? Where is the optimism bias? Where is structural unrealistic? Explicit confirmation step. Before moving forward, you want the red team GPT to answer, if this target were achieved exactly as defined, would it represent a meaningful and strategically valuable outcome? No politeness, no encouragement, a hard yes, no. That matches your intent. I'll now produce a red team prompt exactly tuned for this use. That's exactly what I want. Produce the prompt, please. What we're doing here is compressing weeks of people arguing and making no decisions into less than 50 minutes. Red team prompt. You're acting as a red team reviewer. Your role is not to help optimise, expand the plan. All right, I'm going to assume, because of the amount of time that we've got, that the prompt that is written is good. I'm going to give them snow hydro, ambitious target, paste that prompt in there. Let's see what this red team says. What will they come up with? Alright, red team, hat on, no cheerleading, interrogate the target. Is it genuinely ambitious, deceptively modest in outcome, deceptively ambitious in execution? Outcome, 55 people actively participating is not meaningful dent in behaviour across a large high pressure project unless these people sit in specific leverage nodes. Execution ambitious, getting any consistent behavioural adoption in a change fatigue construction environment inside 30 days is hard. But you've made it harder by choosing two identity groups that are psychologically opposite. Skeptics, prove it, and catalysts. That's two separate adoption motions. Is it measurable and not gained way? No, not as written. Active participation is a gamification trap. If participation is countered by post-likes comments, can be spam, performative, outsourced. Attendants can be passive lurkers. Observable behaviour, vague unless operationalised. Without a hard definition, you'll measure platform activity, not behavioural adoption. Those are not the same things. Okay. Does participation contain ambiguity or measure risk? High ambiguity risk. Active engagement or observable behaviour is a phrase that sounds strict, but is functionally undefined. You're also mixing two measure domains, platform engagement, real work behaviour. Unless those are explicitly tied, you overcount adoption. Does the target create real leverage? Okay, so he wants something specific here. I'm going to go with, I want 20 improvement videos. Attack assumptions, behavioural assumptions. People will change behaviour within 30 days while under execution pressure. People will allocate time to school without being the fastest path to solving today's fires. Skeptics will participate publicly in a platform. Most skeptics don't. They critique privately or via politics. Okay. The environment tolerates transparency. Many construction environments punish visibility. Mistakes, delays, learning and alignment are culturally valued versus get it done. Heroics, catalysts won't be socially punished for being early adopters, teachers, pets. Access and influence assumptions. You got to identify 25 true skeptics and 30 true catalysts accurately. You have to access to them and permission to pull them in a new rhythm. The direct leaders won't block or undermine their participation. Time to adoption. 30 days is enough to cross the trust barrier and establish a habit. Early friction, login, onboarding norms won't kill momentum before it starts. The project won't hit a crisis week that wipes out attention. See how the red team view already's completely pulled apart what we said we wanted to do and gone, hang on a minute. A little bit more to this than what the surface level of a catalyst sees. Right, we've got 30 minutes left. There's someone with authority to enforce legitimate rhythm. Failure mechanisms. Most likely failure. Attention collapse. Trust failure. Authority mismatch. What breaks first? Bandwidth and incentives. Where is optimism bias present? Assuming skeptics will participate rather than resist quietly. Assuming catalysts can sustain momentum without political cover. Assuming platform can compete with existing comm habits. Assuming 30 days is enough to overcome entrenched norms and project realities. Fragmentation is a feature, not a bug. Change, fatigue, coordination, constraints and risk analysis. Dominate early constraint. Unintended consequences. If you want to post a current definition using for active participation, what counts, what doesn't, a red team and measure the gaming. If there are 55 people are the wrong people, the petition is shallow, you'll hit a number and still fail in reality. Okay, let's go back to our mate Mox. Hey Mox, the red team's been pretty brutal. What I need you to do is go through. They've left a question there at the bottom. We need to answer that to go back to them with. It's about active participation. I'm thinking active participation means that the catalysts inside this, we need to come up with a number of improvement videos or ORCA's run. ORCA's run would probably be the best. ORCA's attended. Okay? How many people can we get to attend an ORCA session? How many sessions can we run? And how many people can we get to attend inside the 30 days? That's, I think, going to be the hardest or the most. It's still ambitious, but realistic. What could we set for that? Go through and pull out everything else that we need to address in here too, so we can work out what we need to do next. I don't think that it's, so it wants this to confirm that would be good for the target if achieved. So we need to get more granular on what we're going to call participation. It's the way I read it. Sorry, here's the feedback as well. You need this too. Hit the wrong button there. Exactly kind of attack what the red team actually invalidated. They did not invalidate ORCA school as an interface behavioural change theory. They invalidated something far more specific, more dangerous, your target definition of leverage model. Specifically, headcount equals impact, participation equals behaviour change, identity labels, metrics can be gamed, outcome may be irrelevant even if achieved. That's a high quality critique, which means we're not tweaking wording. We redesigned the target architecture. Your original target, 25 and 30, fails because behaviourally vague, network blind, authority blind, easy to fake, doesn't guarantee project level effect. Red team is correct. On large projects, value only exists if behavioural changes work dynamics, not platform. Correct strategic pivot, very important. We do not abandon the ambition, we change what's being measured. Instead of measuring who types joining a platform, we measure cadence adoption tied to execution because cadence is observable, hard to fake. Hardening active participation. Red team, your instinct is right. Participation must move from identity to activity, behavioural and cadence. Active participation equals attendance plus ORCA execution behaviour. Person only counts if they attend an ORCA session and contribute a real objective constraint action. Oh yeah, I like that. Run ORCA inside their sphere. Now we're measuring behaviour replication or platform noise. Better 30-day ambitious target. Leverage correct. Forget skeptical catalyst headcount as secondary. Primary constraint is cadence penetration. Example, within 30 days, cadence is not going. What should the numbers look like? We need ambitious but cyclical on a large project, very strong. 12 to 20 ORCA sessions. 8 to 15 is critical. 5 to 10 people running ORCA themselves. That's a massive leverage. Why this beats your original target. Your old target could succeed. How we answer the red team. The real work does participation. Red team flag the true dominant constraint, which means ORCA must feel light. Run 16 ORCA sessions, expose 80 plus unique operators, create 8 independent ORCA adopters. Okay, can you drop out what that is? Just drop in there the answer to the ORCA, the red team's questions on how we're going to measure. Let's go back to them again and tighten that up. One of them want to be 16 ORCA sessions in 30 days. Yep, that's ambitious. How many of them? X amount of them need to be run in the school platform, so we've got a record. So whatever that number you think is, I need to run X amount of ORCA sessions with people on site through the school platform. Okay, just drop out what I can give back to the red team and answer to their question. This is where AI moves from being a calculator or a tool or what's the answer to this to a strategic thought partner. It becomes a team member. It's actually telling us now, it's creating conflict for us without the emotion behind it. Perfect. Here's a clean red team response. You can paste straight back in. Red team response. Target is no longer. Okay, let's give them back that. See what they say. I'm just skipping through this a little bit, not reading everything, because the value here is in you seeing how this process will run and how quickly we can get to. Imagine you've got a room full of people trying to sort through this. We wouldn't even be past the rules of engagement. Good, red team back on. This is materially stronger, but it's not red team proof. Here's the stress test. This is now measuring real behaviour. Yes, more than before. However, you still need measuring ORCA activity, not project performance impact. The distinction matters. You've improved behavioural measurement. You have not yet proven environmental shift. Hidden assumptions. ORCA sessions equals behavioural change. Running 16 ORCA sessions does not equal better coordination, faster decisions, reduced work. It equals structured conversation. That is necessary. It's not sufficient. You're assuming structured reflection leads to change behaviour inside execution roles. That's not plausible. It's not guaranteed within 30 days. Exposure is weak. Exposure does not. I'm going to pull you up here for a minute because you're supposed to be the skeptic and you're being overly optimistic. You're saying we're going to change behaviour inside 30 days. Doesn't happen. The nonsense about creating a behaviour inside 21 days is a load of garbage. If you look at neuroscience, it's somewhere closer to 61 to 65 repetitions, depending on the level of complexity of the task. We're not trying to change the world here inside 30 days. You seem to be thinking that we are. We're not. What we're trying to do is get a group of people on board and get them to start understanding and getting a few repetitions in the ORCA process. Literally just getting hold of these people and being able to get them involved inside that time frame is ambitious to start with. You try and go and get 50 people to do anything inside a 30-day time period and you'd be doing extremely well. So you need to wind your head in a little bit, get a bit better understanding of what we're trying to do here and get on board with what we're doing. So this is the conflict part, right? He's going, no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you need to do this. And the skeptics now become the optimistic person. Good, that's the energy I expect from someone actually running this in the real world. Now I'm going to stay in red team mode, but calibrate properly. You're right about one thing. You're not trying to change behaviour in 30 days. You're trying to break inertia, get repetition started, establish first contact with cadence, prove ORCA can exist in that environment. This is a very different objective. And yes, getting 50 humans in a high pressure construction environment to do anything structured inside 30 days is not trivial. Let's reset the frame properly. I was not being optimistic, I was testing impact. Red team doesn't argue that 30 days should change culture. Red team argues, if we hit 30-day target, exactly what changes? If the answer is people have exposure and a few repetitions, then good, that is realistic. If we answer drifts into, we'll see behavioural shift and coordination improve, that's where I'll push back. You're in phase 1, activation, not transformation. That distinction matters. The real 30-day game, you're not building habit, you're actually you're testing access, legitimacy, cadence, viability, friction points, political resistance, signal versus noise. This is a feasibility sprint, not a behaviour change sprint, if that's 100% right. If that's the true objective, then your target makes more sense. But here's the cold water. The risk isn't in 30 days, is not failure to change behaviour. The risk is you misinterpret early repetitions as traction. Early repetitions equals habit. Early attendance equals buy-in. Early adopters equals durable adoption. The 30-day win in condition must be ORCA can survive contact with the project environment, not ORCA is working. Let's stress test your core claim. You can't try and get 50 people to do anything inside 30 days and you're doing extremely well. Correct, but that depends on authority alignment, access to communication channels, clear scheduling rhythm, removal of competing rituals. If ORCA is layered on top of existing chaos, then yes, 50 is ambitious. If ORCA replaces something, 50 becomes eliminate first. That's what he's saying. Becomes more achievable. Red team question, is ORCA replacing an existing rhythm or is it additive? Additive initiates initiative struggle. Replacement initiatives scale. Where you're actually right, where I'm actually right, is a bit of smart ass, this one. The 21-day habit myth is garbage. Complex behaviours require many repetitions. Environmental reinforcement matters more than time. In 30 days, you can create exposure, create first reps, identify leverage nodes. What I'm not going to do, I'm not going to applaud the ambition blindly, pretend early adoptions equals momentum. This is typical. This is what the skeptics are going to tell you. This is why we need them. They've seen it all before. They've heard the flavour of the month. They've seen the optimism. They've seen it start out high, burn out, crash and burn. This is why we do this process, and this is why this process is so powerful. But I will acknowledge this, for a high pressure project environment, your revised target is structurally serious. It's not trivial, it's not fluffy, it's a pressure test. The only real red team question now is if you hit 16 sessions, 8 exposure, 8 independence, what decision will you make on day 31? Continue, kill it, pivot, escalate to leadership, integrate into formal cadence. If you don't define that decision gate now, then 30 becomes theatre. The only place I'm still applying pressure. You're not trying to change the world in 30 days. You're trying to break inertia. That's legitimate. Now the question is, are you measuring inertia or are you measuring activity? Okay, what we're trying to do here, I'm actually in the middle of, this is, not in the middle of, nearly at the end of day 86 of 90 of doing the ORCA process in a row, live, which is extremely hard to do. ORCA process is very powerful. Yes, it is a replacement. It's not an additive. We're going to start with adding in this, replacing something else with this debrief session. This debrief needs to happen daily with a small select group. We're creating a, what would you call it? A trial area, like Ryan Tierney speaks to in Lean Made Simple. What happens at 30 days is then we look at, all right, it started to take hold to a certain degree. There's people engaged in it. How do we keep leveling that up? How do we keep creating momentum? How do we get to the compound day after day after day? All we're trying to do here is flush out the initial people who, one, can tell us what won't work, the skeptics, like Eli Goldratt says, and two, the catalysts will be the ones that will go out in the field and drive this. Does that make sense? Do you need any other context for you to be able to tell me whether this would be a good thing for the project or whether it wouldn't? Down 17 minutes. Now we're talking about the real game. You're not launching a community initiative, you're running a controlled experiment inside a live project. That changes the evaluation entirely. Let me restate what you're actually doing to make sure you're aligned. You've personally run ORCA daily for 86 of 90 days. It's a replacement for an existing debrief rhythm. You're creating a contained trial zone, Ryan Tierney style. The first 30 days are about stress testing the cadence, surfacing structural resistance, skeptics, identifying natural multipliers, catalysts, and after 30 days you don't declare victory, you decide how to compound. That makes strategic sense. Now I'll answer your core question. Is this good for the project? Yes, if and only if 3 structural conditions are true. It replaces a real meeting, not a theoretical one. Yes, you said it's a replacement. That's critical. If ORCA replaces an unstructured debrief, a reactive firefighting meeting, or blame crew cycle, perfect, we can do that. Then you've reduced noise and inserted clarity. If it replaces nothing real, then you're still additive in practice. This is the first checkpoint. Trial zone has authority density. Ryan Tierney talks about pivoting in a small environment, but the small environment must contain decision makers, workflow shapers, people who influence tomorrow's work. If your trial group is just willingly participating without operational gravity, it becomes a thinking club. You don't need 50, you need 5 with weight. ORCA must remove the pain fast. This is a non-negotiable. In construction environments, if something reduces work, speeds decision, clarifies constraints and prevents repeat mistakes, it survives. If it feels like a reflection without impact, it dies. Your 30-day sprint isn't about behaviour change, it's about pivoting pain reduction. If the pilot cell feels slighter after 2 to 3 weeks, you get pull. If not, you'll get polite disengagement. Now on skeptics and catalysts. This part actually does make sense. Goldbrat was right. Skeptics are not the enemies. They are constraint detectors. If they show up, critique structure, push on weak logic. That strengthens the cadence. Catalysts, model it publicly. Run it independently, translate it into field behaviour. That combination is healthy. But here's the real subtlety. You don't actually need 25 skeptics. You need 3 to 5 intelligent skeptics with credibility. Too many skeptics can slow early momentum. And this has come from a red team person who's a skeptic. You're not running a democracy, you're running an experiment. What happens at day 30? This is where your thinking is strong. Day 30 is not did we change behaviour. Day 30 is did ORCA survive contact with real execution? Did it produce a signal? Did repetition start? Did resistant patterns become visible? Did at least a few operators initiate without prompting? If yes, you scale. If no, you redesigned. That's disciplined. There's more context needed. Only need one thing to give you a sharper answer. Who exactly is in the pilot cell? Roles not knowns, because the success of this is far more to do with the hierarchy and workflow than psychology. Final position. What you're doing is structurally sound as a pilot experiment. It's not naive. It's not let's change culture in 30 days. It's a cadence insertion test. It replaces something real. It lives inside high leverage cell. Then yes, it's good for the project. If those 3 fail, then it becomes noise. You're not trying to change the world. You're trying to install a rhythm in a small pocket and see if it spreads. That makes sense. Now tell me the roles in the trial group and I'll tell you how exposed they are. Okay. We don't know yet. So we're going to have to go and find that. Where is Mox? Okay, Mox. So we've got some incredibly good feedback here. This whole 25 skeptics, 30 target catalysts is not what we need. I want you to pull it out, what we need out of this. And the next thing that we need to do is decide on what roles we want involved in this. You and I need to decide that. The question that the other GPT asks. Perfect. Let's strip down what actually matters and make this mechanically correct. So what's happened is we've gone in with a plan, gone, we want to do this. 25 skeptics, 30 catalysts, perfect, beautiful. Let's crack on. Red King's gone, nah. Nah. Not that simple. Nice try, but no. Is this good for the project? No. It's just doing that. Not going to do anything. Completely pulled it apart. And he stripped it back to what we need to find now. Which roles must exist inside the pilot cell for this to have real leverage? Not volunteers, not enthusiasts, execution, gravity. The first principle, what makes a pilot cell work? People who see reality work, people who control decisions, people who feel daily pain. Miss one of these and the ORCA becomes a discussion tool instead of an execution tool. Minimum viable pilot cell, operator grade. If this were a snowy hydro scale environment, the smallest high leverage, I don't know why, I've asked these over and over and over again, and this is something you've got to get used to doing because you got to do it with people, so you do it with GPTs as well. Sometimes you've got to repeat things. So I've asked all of them to stop calling it snowy hydro scale, and yet they continually do it. Workflow reality node, site supervisor, foreman, superintendent, planning, coordination, project manager, lead planner, project engineer, project director, construction manager, a package lead, skeptic node, highly credible skeptic, not a negative personality, a high status dissenter. Why this role is powerful. Sweet spot, 1 to 3. What this configuration actually creates, this mix gives you reality pressure, roles that add strength but aren't mandatory. Commercial, contracts, safety, client interface roles. Do not build the first cell around these. They observe more than they share. Pilot cell. Do you not want a large group? Optimal behavioural cell tests. So I know adapt to 4 to 8 people. You're not building culture yet. Critical diagnostic question for you. Before we even talk tactics inside the real target environment, which roles can you realistically get into a repeating ORCA cadence? Not who like you, not agrees. Okay, so I think we're running out of time, right? We've got 10 minutes left. We've done some extremely good work here. What we need is give me those lists of names, and I need to start finding them. I think the best way I'm going to do that is via LinkedIn. I've already started that search. So I'll start reaching out to those specific roles, and we will scrub the target of the 25 skeptics and the 30 catalysts. Hitting those from what the red team's saying is an ambitious target. If we can have that core group together within our 30 days, we will change it to that. We've got more specific too. So we're talking to, I can now post, if you're a engineer or if you're a construction manager or whatever, can make our content more specific to them rather than just a catalyst or a skeptic. What we'll do is we won't worry about trying to find a skeptic. As we find those catalysts, to me they'll be easier to flush out. They'll very quickly tell us who the skeptic will be. Does that make sense? Can you drop that into a list for me so that I can throw that into Trello, and then I can tick those off as we go? I need it to go into a checklist into Trello, please. Perfect. This says a catalyst are easy to identify in skeptics, high energy operators, Trello checklists. Pilot cell. Identify active projects, packages aligned with target environment. Search LinkedIn for construction managers, project directors. Search LinkedIn for project managers, lead planners. Project engineers, senior engineers. Search LinkedIn for site supervisors, superintendents. Phase 2, high leverage role. Short. All right. Now, we've just done weeks of planning or arguing in, still got 7 minutes left. We've got a plan there that we can start tackling. We'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to engage you, start asking the question, who are these people? These are the roles. Who do we start to need to talk to? You can see how we've gone from something that we could have wasted a lot of time on, spent a lot of time on non-value add activity. We're getting straight to the value add activity because we've introduced the conflict and said, why won't this work? When you do it with AI, you actually take the emotions out of it and you get through it a lot quicker as well. All right. What we need to do now, because this is actually supposed to be ORCA, is do our ORCA for today. What I've done, Benny and Mox have done the plan, hand off to the red team. We've created tasks, sequence, and a timeline. We're going to put into an attack plan, which we'll show you later in the week. Now we're going to do the R bit. Execute plan.
We completed our break and now must actually do the plan. Remember the plan.
Yeah. It was a good plan.
What does this plan demand of us, Brain?
Well, according to my brain manual, let me just see if I can find the page right. Ooh.
Go on, do tell.
The plan requires effort.
Effort, you say.
Yes.
This revelation. I find it disgusting.
We'll do the effort. If you're a catalyst and you want to get involved in this, you can just message me via WhatsApp. There's a little QR code. Let's have a quick 5-minute chat. Or if you know someone that I should be talking to about this, you think this makes sense. This sounds interesting. I don't have the time, but it's going to create the time for you. Someone else needs to run with it. Yes, you need a who. That's what I do. Now you haven't seen the whole session. That's just a compressed into 45 minutes. Pull a team together, try and get them from that to that, from that, oh, we're going to do this thing, to actually a solid plan to execute inside 45 minutes. Come try and do that with skeptics to pull it apart for you. Okay. It is 17th of February 2026. This is a new shift and it is day 86 of 90. This is a process that we're going to get them to run because it's so powerful. That's got me to this point. Date incorrectly detected. That's poor transcription. I said the 17th. It's the 17th. Home ORCA, ORCA. Man, this is slow today. Gonna go me 50 minutes in a minute. 3 minutes left. Wrap my ORCA up. Come on, take 10 minutes just to get it running. The daily live is in progress. There was never a time. So the second one is no. The wrist check is no. There was never a time when I wasn't going to run it. Transcription's poor today. Verify full kit was done. I did multiple targeted outreach and the daily live's done. All three, yes. The one objective for today was to run a ambitious target session on the daily live. So tomorrow we'll be back with a new scoreboard up here. Scrub the skeptics and the catalysts, and we have our small team, I think 4 to 8 that we said we're going to. Yes, it was achieved. That we're going to have on board by the end of the month. Now, answer part. What behaviour ensured the live happened today? The behaviour is already set. So I plan my day before it starts. I've got the pressure in there that I've been doing the live. I'm on the streak. Decisions removed, friction. Decision around run the ambitious target session. It's going to remove a lot of friction because it stopped me heading off in a direction and doing a lot of work that didn't need to be done. That was also a constraint because my time's constrained to how much of this I can actually get done, and the wingman used is the usual, plus we created one which was a red team for the ambitious target session. 24 seconds. We're going to run over. People used to get paranoid. I'd have this running. Some people used to talk more than others. I'm going to tell you who they were. So what I used to actually do is when I set 15 minutes, I'd set it to 10. Because I knew I needed a bit more buffer at the back end of their session, just to speed them up, stop them, but kept everyone focused. Man, we cranked through some meetings. We went through, I forget how many, it was a large number of meetings in 2 days. About 8, 9 scopes of work we got through in 2 days, which was massive. What single action today most increases the probability of hitting 90 from 90? Planning tomorrow's session, which is engage. I've already got a lot of it done. I just need to get into the Trello card and go, who are these people? Who do I need to speak to? Spark conversation. Tomorrow's all going to be about spark conversation. Tomorrow is a weekday. Yes, it is. Single action most increases probability to clarify who tomorrow's engage session is for and define the spark conversation inside the Trello card. That tightens the audience, increases watch time, increases right person reach. Forward check. Task for tomorrow. Verify full kit. Complete one targeted revenue driving outreach. Daily live. Did the daily live happen? Yes or no? Everything else is secondary. So you've skipped steps again. How have you got our sequence and skip steps again? You haven't asked me about the visual reflection route, and we haven't done the, what's the name, which gives us a score out of 3. Apparently Claude's better for this. I would have thought this would have been pretty well trained by now. It's done. Forget how many sessions when we started with this one. Daily execution index. That is a deviation from locked ORCA. We correct it now. Daily execution index was 3 from 3 and the visual reflection loop is complete, and don't forget to put the 3 tasks down the bottom once you're done. A6 and 90. Done. Alright. Conflict isn't chaos. You need it. You just saw how to ramp it up with AI. Take it, use it, reach out when you're ready to get the who. I'll show you how to make this happen with the highest probability and the fastest. You just saw it today, how we did that. Speak soon. You want to know what's more costly than conflict? Avoiding it. When you avoid conflict, you're not just avoiding uncomfortable conversations, you're sacrificing growth, stalling progress, and undermining any form of accountability. The real problem isn't conflict, it's avoiding it. It leads to poor decision making, wasted time, and stagnated growth. Patrick Lencioni calls it fear of conflict. But the truth is, avoiding hard conversations is just another form of the second dysfunction. What tough conversations are you avoiding right now?